Hello, you Mayhem Makers. Mindy with Quilting Mayhem, and welcome back to another Kona block of the month. We're up to March. Another, easy, fun one that looks complicated, but really isn't that bad. Feeling a little under the weather today, so if I sound a little froggy, I apologize, but I wanted to get this done for you guys. So, like most of our block of the months, we're starting with half square triangles. So you're going to do those diagonal lines on the wrong side of your background fabric, put them together, and stitch them that 1/4 inch away from the line on either side. You're going to cut them up, press them, trim them. So you're going to have a whole bunch that look like these. Now remember, your leftover fabric, you're going to hold those aside for the end for the border piece if you're going to do the same border as Robert Kaufman had laid out. I have already done one sample, so I'm running a little low on my colors. Hopefully it still kind of turns out. But what you will then do is start creating 3 different units in this block. So there's going to be a center pinwheel that will look like that. And this is just assembled like a 4-patch. So you put these 2 blocks together and these 2 together and then put them all together. Now remember, I press mine open. That is a personal choice. You can press either way. If you're pressing one way or the other, please press to the dark side so that the seam doesn't show under that white fabric or whatever light background you have. And that will keep everything nested nice cleanly, and it should still press out nice and pretty flat for you. All right, so there's going to be that center pinwheel, and then we're going to have 2 other units. One will look like this. Now remember, you're going to have these 2 pointing towards each other, and this one does this. So I do highly recommend laying out your blocks before you sew everything together, so that you can make sure everything's pointing in the right direction, because that's where this one gets a little tricky, is things are just kind of pointing different ways. And then you will have, there's 4 units that look like this and 4 units that look like this. So these are going to be in your corners, these are going to be in between, and then that pinwheel in the middle. And actually, I'm going to recommend you don't, so you're going to make sure these 2 don't match. So I'm going to make sure these 2 blocks aren't next to each other in this main block, because I don't want it to actually have that solid look. I want it a little more scrappy. All right, so start out, make those half square triangles, trim them up, and then I'm going to lay out one of those units, and I'll show you what it looks like and how to sew it together. All right, so you lay them out, you have your solid, you have your 2 half square triangles pointing near each other, and then this one's going to line up against this one. So I'm going to sew these 2 and these 2 together first. All right, so these are together and those together. Then you put them right sides together, match up that seam, pin it, and sew. Okay. If you're brand new to quilting, I would recommend also matching this corner and this corner, potentially pinning it before you sew, because this is what's going to help keep your block straight, is making sure that everything matches up and stays where it belongs. All right, so take this to the machine and be right back. Okay, so that's how these blocks come together. And that's the same method you're going to use for this pinwheel. Just do 2 and 2 and then put these together. And then the next block, you're going to take 2 half square triangles. You're going to put them together first, because then they're going to get partnered with a rectangle. All right, so I'm going to take this to the machine and be right back. Okay, so now we have those done, and we start placing everything together. Let's see if I can... Unfortunately, this space doesn't have a lot of room. But you make sure you put these units out. Put your pinwheel in the middle, however you want it. Move your blocks around how you want them. And then get your corner units laid out how you want them. Making sure this square is out in the corner. And you just kind of keep playing with it, trying to get like your greens and things where you want them. and then sew it together. So I'm going to do 3 blocks across, make 3 rows, and then start putting them together. I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so we have rows together. Now we start putting these into the block. Grab pins, make sure you pin every join. And like I said, if you're new, I highly recommend you pin the beginning and the end to keep your block as straight as possible. But otherwise, just make sure you're pinning each of these as you go. Keep that block nice and straight. Match those seams up. If you've never seen a fork pin, that's what this one is, which is kind of nice. It will actually pin both sides of the seam at the same time because there's 2 to help keep that seam straight. But what I'll do is sew this section first, press it, and then add the bottom row, and then we'll be done. All right, so there's the block. It's so pretty. Just nice, simple half square triangle. So hopefully this went smoothly for you. If you have any questions, as always, feel free to reach out. You can call us at the store. You can email info@quiltingmayhem, message through Facebook, any of the things. I will gladly help you if you're having any problems. Otherwise, I hope you've really been enjoying this so long. We've just barely begun, so it's just going to keep getting more and more fun as the blocks get done and the colors come out. I'm really excited for this year so long. So I hope you have a lovely day and keep on stitching.